Awesome. Just to, I don't know how long do we have here, but yeah, so Cloud Code. So I can see that's a lot of audience here using Cloud Code. Has anyone tried GitHub Copilot CLI? Okay, cool. Do you know that you can actually use open code as well with Copilot, GitHub Copilot? So that's another alternative as well. And really what we're seeing is that a lot of organizations, especially big ones, love to actually they're being faced with challenges around managing all of these various tooling, right? So engineers love Cloud Code, engineers love Cursor, engineers love, I don't know, whatever tool that you have. And problem is, you look at the platform level, those tools are pretty hard to manage, right? So as you actually have those sprawling of various tooling, when you talk about governance, compliance, security, and that is really the challenge that a lot of organizations and enterprises are facing these days. So really what I'm going to showcase you by the end of this session, hopefully you can give that Copilot CLI a try. So we recently announced, has anyone heard of Agent HQ? All right, I'm just going to skip the whole thing. And really the Agent HQ is really not a product. It is not a service. It is the future of agents in GitHub, right? So this is our vision of how we make agents native as part of GitHub. Rather than kind of bolting agents and try to integrate it with various set of connectors, etc., we want to make it as native as possible within GitHub. So as you use GitHub Actions, so as you use various connections, whatever it is, like tooling that you have, we want to make sure that that experience is native within GitHub. So there's really the first thing that I think Marco mentioned about coding agents, right? So as you see, as you saw earlier, you actually can choose different models within Copilot, right? So you can use Sonnet, you use Opus, you use Gemini. Gemini might be good for multi-modal. Sonnet might be good for business logic and so on, code generation. But what we're doing within GitHub is actually bringing all these coding agents inside GitHub, right? So we're not talking about these models that you can already choose within Copilot, but we're actually bringing the harnesses, the actual kind of the system prompt and the engineering that we're actually working directly with these vendors, right? So working with Anthropic, we're working with OpenAI, Codex, working with, later on coming in the future, we're going to be allowing third-party agents, coding agents into GitHub, right? And you'll see that agents become that, headquarters of all, or GitHub becomes the headquarters of agents.
When you say GitHub, you mean Copilot?
Yeah, within GitHub Copilot. Yes, correct. Yeah. So there's a bit confusion in that, we have Copilot coding agent, and we also have different coding agent as well, third-party coding agents within that. So you saw that Marco mentioned a little bit about it, where you can actually enable partner agents. That's where you actually enable them. Yeah. So that's the first two that we have is the Anthropic and OpenAI Codex. So that's already available. So as long as you have Copilot Enterprise license, you're able to access them and then get these two coding agent enabled in your enterprise. And the experience that you get out of this coding agents will most likely as close as possible. So I think I asked when I was in Seattle a couple of weeks ago, I asked the product team directly, and how do you actually differentiate what the experience is? Is there going to be any gap? And the way they mention it to us is that it's like if you're accessing Gmail from Outlook, right? So in a way, it's very, very similar, right? So there might be slight, variation around the formatting and blah blah blah. So, but it's quite similar.
It's gonna be accessing a Copilot from Writer.
Well, from JetBrains Rider.
Accessing cloud from GitHub Copilot as an agent. It's gonna be similar experience that we are accessing GitHub Copilot from Rider as an extension because it's always out of
So
it's out of like behind.
yeah. So long as I haven't actually checked exactly about Rider. So long as the extension that plugins, right, in Rider, right? I used Rider as well a while back, please. I haven't actually checked the latest support on it, but if you see Claude and Codex within Rider plugin, and it is possible. So you can actually.
What I'm trying to ask is, like, for example, the experience in VS Code for GitHub Copilot is way more ahead of than the GitHub Copilot in Rider. The extension updates are not coming at the same time.
Yeah, there's always a bit of a lag.
So what I'm asking is,
Yeah.
when we use Cloud as an agent on Copilot, it's gonna be behind than using Cloud CLI.
Can you repeat that?
Yes.
So can you
You have two terminal,
yeah.
or you have two editor. One of them is you are using directly Cloud CLI, and you are using Cloud from GitHub Copilot. Are they gonna have the same feature set, or are we gonna get a bit like a delay on the getting the features of Cloud?
Yeah, if you're talking about the cloud code, the coding agent that's made available within different interfaces, they are quite similar across multi-services, whether you use CLI, whether you use extension, whether you use the github.com, right? Because that's basically, we want to make it as part of this is multi-surface. So whether you access them from, mobile, whether you access them from, different extensions.
Interface question is more about the feature set or how good it is. Because normally, without having those partner agents, we had the cloud models like Sonnet and stuff.
Yeah.
But always the argument was it is never as good as the cloud code, like that native implementation, because Copilot is doing some extra wrapping around, right? So
Yeah.
what I'm asking is, if you use native,
Yes.
and if you use cloud code as a partner agent,
Yeah.
directly embedded, or is it again like a wrapper there? So there will be some.
No. Yeah. So that's exactly the question that I asked as well. When I was in the US a while back. The main thing is there's three areas or three components, right? So it's number one is the harness, right? Which is kind of the, in a way, system prompt and other kind of surrounding stuff. And then the other one is execution, right? So the runtime. So the runtime is across all the coding agents will be the same. And that's how we make it native within GitHub, right? So use GitHub Actions runners. So we still basically use that. And the last thing is the inferencing. So the inferencing with Copilot, we actually call Copilot API. Whereas with Anthropic and Codex, they basically, to go to the other slide, they're going to Anthropic directly. So you'll have to test it and trial it, but we're actually working with this providers directly, right? Where they actually suggested all of this kind of the harnesses around this. So you'll find that it's very, very similar in terms of the experience that you get. And the fact that you can access as well within Copilot CLI, you'll find that it's quite close.
Right now, they are already on enterprise, yes?
Yes.
But are we gonna get them to like personal pro subscriptions at some point?
I can't answer that, but it's a good question. The business license, especially the personal ones and so on, it's always the way we do it is all about economy of scale, right? So it's basically coming down about the pricing and so on, right? So, but yeah, good point. That's something that we're going to need to think about.
When we enable them, are we using our premium requests, or do we have extra billing?
So yeah, so on the billing side, it's actually the same across all these various agents, right? So we provide pricing. So for example, using Codex, it's one premium request, right? Same thing with Anthropic Cloud. So one premium request. So they're the same, and that's really the advantage of having this, GitHub as your agent HQ, So rather than procuring Cloud Code, rather than procuring codecs with OpenAI, you actually have similar, basically unification of billing across the board. So yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this agent freedom and agent orchestration. But the thing is, with freedom, we want to not to lock you into a particular model or particular agent or particular tool. Today, Cloud Code is the best, probably. You can argue that, right? But next month, who knows, right? The next 3 months, there might be new ones coming. And we want to, there's a lot of amazing products coming from DeepSeek, right? And Quen models, I don't know if anyone tried that, but I heard that's pretty amazing at the low cost inferencing. And really, we want to make sure that you get the best tool, whatever it is that you want to choose. We want to make that available in GitHub. So the other thing is around orchestration. So the key thing here, I don't want to sort of bore you to kind of run the slides, but really the key thing here, we want to ensure that we move beyond code completion. We now in 2026, no longer doing any kind of, hopefully surfing the web to search for like particular code. How do I actually do this? How do I actually do that? It's all about orchestrating outcomes, right? So we're shifting from coding to managing and outcomes. And that's really the key thing here around agent orchestration. We have ways for you to use custom agents, and that's the persona of your agent, the job description of the agent. You can make that available within your organization so that it's consistent across the board as well. And then you can access them from IDE, whichever IDE. Anyone use, obviously, I think someone mentioned Eclipse. Anyone use Eclipse here? Cool. But yeah, there is some support for that. And some engineers, I actually talked to one of my customers, use mobile to actually review code. So there you go. Yeah.
Agent HQ on mobile a lot.
Amazing.
Sleep.
Oh, great. So you can do PR review on mobile. So there's really no excuse not to do any work. So yeah. Cool. And orchestration here is around that mission control, where pretty much Agent HQ comes to life in that, we have ability to look at all the sessions that are running within our repo, our organization, our enterprise. So it's all across the board. And then it's no longer doing coding, right? So coding is only, was it like 14% or whatever that Marco mentioned? It's across the board, starting from planning, coding, testing, fixing, and so on, right? Questions? All good? Oh yeah, go ahead.
What is the difference between using Agent HQ or creating just issue and assigning Copilot? Is there any extra benefit using Agent HQ? Because even if you use that, it actually creates an...
Yeah, so Agent HQ is not a product, right? So it's not a service. Again, it's almost, if you think about it, it's like an ecosystem. It's a lot more kind of a bunch of blocks within Agent HQ that makes that feature comes to life. But the idea is that we want to make that agent experience native. But your question around issue and how do you do it, there's many ways you can actually assign coding to coding agent. So you can assign it from IDE, you can assign it from CLI, you can also assign it from GitHub.com as well. So
if you use Agent HQ, if not, you can just write what you want and kind of create an issue and assign.
So you can do that as well. But again, it's not an Agent HQ, right? So it's really just a way for you to assign to coding agent. And then mission control is where you can actually see those agents in session and you can steer them as well.
HQ is the tab on each repo AI agents, right?
No. But yes, but yeah, it is basically more than that. Yeah. So we have agent. Basically, there's three pillars: agent freedom, orchestration, and then controls. And there's more kind of features within that. But yeah, it's very confusing. I know. Yeah. Another thing that I'm going to show just very shortly, just mention it. Copilot SDK, I think Marco mentioned that a little bit just now, where you can, just using your GitHub Copilot subscription, you can build an app-like sort of experience, right? So think about, the time that you spend with your kind of DevOps equivalent engineers and trying to ask, hey, where's my storage account? Where's my what is it, Foundry resource and all those things. We want you to use Foundry for sure, but then you can actually do a mock-up and experimentation quickly just by using Copilot SDK. And the key thing here is that we're bringing the experience of using the models that are available within GitHub Copilot and use it in your app. So that's really the key messaging there. So I've got a quick demo on that, but let's see if it works because I haven't actually tested it recently. But anyway, let's see here. Yeah, so this one here is the kind of a simple app. I can actually just build, like a three-tier app, right? So the UI, and then you got the business logic, and then you got the database, or EF, or in this case. And what you have is, hey, I can ask questions, and then I can actually expose the different models in here, right? So I can use the same models that I have access to within my Copilot subscription, and made it available within here. So that's kind of the key thing there, right? So you can make it as creative as you like. So you can build kind of an app like, and then you can sort of try it and self-host it, whatever. Yeah, it's at this point in time, I just have to caution it. It's not really built for lines of businesses where you can actually just, hey, build an app and then do that, because it's going to be using your Copilot subscription. But it's amazing for prototyping, experimentation, and so on. Yeah, so that's really the key thing. And the other thing is, we've got these various controls within agents, Copilot, and so on. Let me see if I can get that here. So we've got a bunch of, this is the new tab that you saw earlier in the coding agent, and you can make a custom agents, right? So in this case, you can say, hey, you basically just need to create a private repo within the organization, and then you can make that available within the enterprise. And then you can also assign that to different organizations. So that's pretty nifty feature, I would say, because you want to make sure that some of these custom agents are great, and you want to be able to replicate it across the rest of the org. The other thing I'm just going to showcase is the CLI experience. I'm just going to say here. Okay, this one here. You can see that. Yeah, so the CLI, there's different models. I saw there's the fast mode, right? So everyone knows that. Use that to commit and push. And that's something that I did as well in the demo before. But the key thing here is that, let me just go ahead here. You can actually, YOLO mode. Yes, that's right. There's different model. So that's something that I can, sorry, not this one. So you can actually do this. You can have different mode. So you have plan mode, you have autopilot mode, and that's quite new. It's actually part of experimental, where you kind of want to simulate the autonomous experience locally within this session, right? So if you, for example, you've got your repo somewhere, not in GitHub, then you want to be able to use something like this way of not being prompted every time you ask certain tasks. You can use autopilot mode, and it's best to actually use that with YOLO mode, which is another thing there that allows it to perform basically tasks outside of for example, shell tasks and so on that it needs. But yeah, be careful on that. Just make sure you choose it's scope within your working directory. So it should be, within that working directory rather than kind of going out and delete all your root directories. So that'd be insane. Yeah. So that's that. And then the other thing here is we've got fleet mode. And this is kind of the craze at the moment around sub agents and parallel execution and so on that Claude Code is actually doing pretty widely, and a lot of YouTube kind of influencers are doing that. You can do that within GitHub Copilot CLI. So there is a fleet mode here. Let me see if I can get that. Where you can actually specify multiple agents, right? And they will be able to run them in parallel. So in this case, hey, I've got multiple agents, custom agents in here, and it will perform parallel reviews. So I've got custom agents in there. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to showcase some of the latest features that we're seeing. Experimental mode, CLI, to try, and hopefully you're convinced that it is good, if not better than Claude Code. So that's it.
We have a question from the chat, which is the now appropriate time to ask here. When is auto mode coming to GitHub CLI for auto model selection? Or is there a way of replicating that until such time as it turns up?
The auto mode within the agents.
Yeah, it was automatic model selection.
Yeah. At this point in time, it's not available. However, the way I would do it is that you think about kind of the world of sub agents, where you can do something like this is just my own kind of experiment in that you can use a less capable model at the main agent, and then perform, if you do need to perform very advanced stuff, you can do that in your sub agent, and then you can specify and mention that as part of your custom agent to call using expensive, more expensive kind of agent, for example. Right? But there's having ability for you to chain multiple agents will save not only the kind of the task, but also in terms of costs. At this point in time, I don't know whether that's being patched. It's actually quite big on Reddit recently that people can actually use very cheap main agent and then use multiple sub agents, and then they're being built just one premium request. Again, I'm not going to be advocating on that, but that's something that we're seeing as well. So it might be patched by now.
And then the other hot topic is, when's Ralph mode coming to CLI? When's Ralph mode? Ralph Wiggum.
I have no idea what that is, but yes.
So, well, to answer the question, if those using Claude Code, how many are familiar with the Ralph Wiggum loop? Two. So a couple people. So the Ralph Wiggum loop is basically, so who remembers the character Ralph Wiggum from The Simpsons? Little dim-witted, but he's extremely persistent. And so the aim of the Ralph loop is basically, it originated with somebody, and it's been incorporated into Claude Code as a feature. Okay. Basically, what it does is it takes the same prompt and just keeps running it at model until it gets stuck, and then it clears all context and then runs another one and keeps going until it manages to get somewhere. So it can basically brute force the solution. Yeah.
That's the part you're talking about, the harness, right?
Yes.
The harness.
Happy GitHub is not doing it for us.
It's the whole thing, but it's just the harness, and you could have any number of harnesses. And I think in the GitHub Copilot Visual Studio extension, for example, there are multiple harnesses and you can lock them.
Yeah.
With settings and things, so you can change. I think those sorts of things are where you could see in the marketplace that had the Ralph loop harness in there to allow you to do brute force. I don't think it's an elegant solution, but
yes. And there, with this, we are closely paying attention to the market, right? So you'll see that the other day, Code Insiders released Explore mode. I don't know whether anyone kind of tried that, but it's another thing on top of plan mode, where it actually does more than planning. So yeah, so definitely look at insiders, take a look at CLI, and yeah, give it a go. And yeah, try some agents and see if that you can hack it. So cool. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. Any
Questions?
last one?
I actually got, well, it might be like some basic question for
Yeah.
but I'm having a hard time to following the CI and I pipe.
Yeah,
The CCI and slash CD pipeline.
oh, yeah, CD pipeline. Yes, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
what is that exactly?
Oh, yeah, so it's, well, we have to say, I actually, don't want to mention that GitHub Actions is CI/CD. It's actually different. It's actually more than that. But it basically allows you to perform, continuous integration and continuous delivery, where you can actually, build and package your software and then, kind of perform that deployment.
And how do you set up the code and the environment and how do you manage the continue the as the way? How do you manage that?
Okay, yeah. So the question is around context optimization. It's interesting. So we actually have a way for you to maintain that or find out about how you do it. So as you can see, within CLI, you can actually look at the context, as you can see here. So a bunch of kind of system tools and messages and buffer and all that stuff. But as you actually use your context, and there's a paper on it, I think probably DSR and some of you know. As you actually fill your context, the performance of your response will be degraded, especially if you ask kind of the first thing in the memory block. You'll be able to see that it actually forgets that. So what we suggest is that you keep an eye on that and use compact. So you don't have to do it, but you can summarize your context window in here. But it's supposed to be done automatically by the CLI. It's within here. But if you find that you're actually getting some weird responses and start to get some hallucination, take a look at your context and then your compact.
I mean, I always do. I always start a new chat window. Always start clear. I guess what I'm really interested in is it's actually know how the CI and CD pipeline is actually a loop that continually driving the agents to achieve your goal, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? The pipeline?
CI, CD. The agentic workflows.
Yeah, the agentic workflows.
Okay. Yeah, so agentic workflows it's an announcement. It was about 2 weeks ago. That allows you to effectively I have it here. Effectively kind of use GitHub Actions and then add actual instruction like prompt underneath that, and then allows you to perform some automation across for your repos, right? So for example, you can do a check on your CI, or it can do daily sort of status report, or you can do like triaging of issues and so on, and put labels as well. So you can do that as well in Actions. So we can see that here. Let me just open it up and my entire screen here, bit easier. I actually have it here. Swap display. Something like that. Oh, where is it? Open up this one. Right, so this is an example of agentic workflow, right? So you can see there's a bunch of kind of deterministic sort of GitHub action syntax on the top, and then in here you have instruction underneath. And what it will do, it can actually build a status report. For example, in this case, let's see if I got that running here. And this is what it looks like, right? So you have the daily report status, run that as an agentic workflow, and we'll actually build or create an issue called daily report status. And this is based on that agentic workflow. So yeah, it is something that can be done, and it is currently in technical preview. And you can definitely give it a try and see what it can do. There's more stuff. You
Right,
can
cool.
see there's agentic workflows here. You can go to the web. There's a bunch of samples. It can do automated markdown reviews. It can do continuous AI. And there's some more gallery here as well, like metrics, analytics, documentation, and so on. So yeah, give that a try and see what.
I guess my second question is more relevant to so in Copilot's CLI, how heavy is the Copilot system?
How heavy?
Yeah. How big is it?
Yeah.
How much context does it take
So
comparing to?
So you can take a look at that
CLI?
before, right? So you can see in the context, again, as you start, you can actually check it directly in there. It come down to what Copilot instructions that you have, right? So there's some instructions or some agent sort of scaffolding that you can actually have as part of your repo, and that will actually use kind of tokens as well. But yeah, you can see here is about 28,000 in there.
But really, really super interesting. And you can't see the GitHub Copilot CLI, but the Visual Studio Code extension for GitHub Copilot
Yes.
is open source, and you can actually see the system prompts. If you're interested, or because they're often different.
Yes, exactly.
Or you can Google, and there's plenty of GitHub repositories where people have extracted system prompts from all the different harnesses. So
Yes.
you can have a look at them and compare them as well.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, this CLI is closed source at the moment, but yes, the VS Code extension is open source. You can take a look at this wrappers or whatever.
And that's where you can see the secrets.
Yes, every model has different things. So it comes from the vendors, come from the OpenAI and so on. So yeah. Amazing. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.